Alright, alphanumeric here. This is that notorious 2.8. Miserable. I had it running, and you know I did the cheat thing with the gaskets, and that was not the problem. That sealed up, it ran fine and everything, but what we had was right where the manifold goes right here, and the manifold sticks up right here, had a hairline crack right there. So yes, I'm going to do my little sneaky trick again because I don't want to take those valves apart. I don't want to take the rocker arms off and loosen them all up because it's just a bear to adjust them. So, yeah. So that's where I'm at. I got it torn apart here. It took me a couple hours to get it apart. I'm going to get things cleaned up and get it back together, but I just wanted to give you guys a recap. I didn't film it when it was running. I should have, but it worked fine. But once again, I'm going to do the old cheat on the gasket and cut those so that they go around the push rods, like I explained in the video before. Yeah, we rebuilt this motor here, but that little intake thing was a bear. I can't believe we missed that. I can't believe the machine shop missed that crack. So anyway, I'm gonna buzz out for a minute and keep you stay tuned in because well, you're not going anywhere. You're watching the video. I just gotta pause it for a minute and then I'll be back. Alright, as you can see, we've got these things here, and we're back to the same old thing. We've got to put this in place, and I'll show you here. For those of you that didn't catch the original video, it says this side up. Alright, man, let's get here. It says this side up. Right here. Yeah, let's get this out. So, okay. It says this side up, and then here it says do not cut. Okay, these have to go behind the push rods. I'll show you here. As you can clearly see, it won't sit flat, and there's only two ways to get it. Oh, look at that goober from the valve covers. Just a little bit, no big deal. But there's only two ways to get them behind the push rods there. See, the bottom part goes around the outside. That's why they're indented up, and the ones that are indented down go behind the push rod. So you could take all the rocker arms off and then readjust all the valves, or you can cut this right where it says do not cut. Now I did this originally and I had to redo this manifold, but not because of this. This was sealing just fine when I cut them, and so I'm going to do it again and then run it so you can see it. I didn't give you guys a shot of the car running, but that's because I had a water leak. It was puddling up right here, dripping down from the manifold, which had a crack. That showed just a little bit ago. So anyway, once again, I'm going to cut those, and if you want to see how I do it, just watch the other video. I'm going to link them together. But in the meantime, I'm going to redo this, and I'm going to cut them again, because I am confident that this works. I've done probably 100 of these that way, because I'm not into... Well, I mean, if the customer wants to go ahead and pay that kind of money because it's going to take a couple hours, well, maybe an hour to just the valves. So, and then there's a chance you might make a mistake, or one might be just a little loose, and they're not like the old Chevrolets that you can start it up, pull the valve cover, and adjust them while it's running, because this one you can't. This one, part of what the you can't get the dang things off while they're on. You literally have to take the upper plenum off to get the valve covers off, or you can bench it maybe and get them out. But in any case, what I'm going to do is cut those, get them sprayed up and get ready to go. Because I got the new manifold down there, not the new one, the old one's there, the one with the crack. That's the one I just finished sort of cleaning up the best I can, getting the gasket surfaces clean. And I'll take it apart. I'll switch those two sending units out. Once it's bolted down, it's easier for the manifold to hold still. But I got the surfaces all clean with thermostat. And so it's ready to go back on shortly. I'm going to get some spray on the gaskets. Like I said, I like to use the copper spray gasket on them to help them adhere. I don't use none of that Permatex stuff, because like this, if I had to take it apart, it comes apart easy, and the gasket stuff comes off easy too, but it creates a real solid seal. So anyway, yeah, let me get to this. Okay, just to recap on cutting these, you can see I cut them out. And this dowel pin right here that they got a little plastic dowel pin. Let me see if I can zoom in on that for you. A plastic dowel pin that plugs into a hole right there, which pretty much holds it stable. The bottom one here will hold it just fine. You'll put your bead of silicone across these on the front and the back. And like I said, definitely spray these. I mean, I don't know what they do, but they taught us that in school, and I've always done it in the shop. We use like some kind of a spray gasket. Used to use the Permatex purple spray stuff, but that's really a mess to clean up. I like the copper spray because it's more of like a silicone type adhesive, so it's easy to clean up if you have to take it apart. So anyway, that's how it'll sit, and the other one will sit just like that when I cut the pieces. But you can clearly see that I cut the pieces out that go behind there, and I've never had a problem doing it this way. So I'm happy with that. I hope that helps you in case you ever have to do one of these, or obviously if you're looking at this video, you're probably doing one of these or thinking about doing one. Well, that's a shortcut, and it's a sneaky trick, and it works, guaranteed. Well, no guarantee, you can't sue me for it, but the point I'm saying is I've done hundreds of these, and that does the trick. See, I got the bead of silicone going right across here, and of course in the back, a bead of silicone going across there. That's what they use. They don't use gaskets. You see I got that high-tack spray on my gaskets, and you see it's sitting nice and flat. Notice how those hoops go on the outside. Well, the other ones are supposed to go behind, but the only way to get them behind is take the valves out. So this is what I do, and it works perfect. See, on this side here, it's all sitting nice and flat. Hoops are going around, and the gasket's behind, and the dowel pin that comes with it, it's holding it in on both sides. There's the dowel pin on, where is it? Right there. There's the dowel pin. Okay, now I'm about to put the manifold on. Alright, as you can see, got the manifold on. Getting ready to drop the valve covers on, because then we put the rest of the plenums back together. The center plenum, the injector rail, and then the upper plenum. Of course, I got to get that pipe in place, but that's after I get the valve cover in place. I leave this loose for now, so that I can get the valve cover in there. I've got a couple of obstacles. One is that engine lift bracket right there. It's kind of hard to see, but right at the end of that valve cover, you see the yeah, it's hard to say. Hard to see there, but in any case, right after that last rocker arm, there's a loop, a bracket that sticks up that you hook the chain onto to get it out, and that's kind of tough to finagle it in there with that water jack bracket there. Alright, let me get them valve covers on. Okay, you got the valve cover, distributors, valve cover, lower intake is in. I just sprayed the gasket. I got it out of the box and it was all folded up and stuff, so hopefully it'll be okay. It's gotta have to. Anyway, I'm ready to put the secondary plenum on, which is the center plenum. Alright. You guys got that? The valve cover in. Secondary plenum going on. Distributor in. Alright, I got the secondary plenum up. All I gotta do is get them old gaskets off the top there. They have that copper seal. And this is what I'm talking about, these gaskets. These gaskets with the copper spray. Just wanted to show you how easy they come off. Well, well, they made a liar out of me. These are on there pretty good, but they come off pretty easy. See? Not a bunch of glue and crap to scrape off. You can pretty much take some brake clean on a rag and give those a wipe and get the residue off of here. Might have to scrape that a little bit, but you're never going to get them results with Permatex. Actually, let me reframe that. This is Permatex. That copper spray stuff is by Permatex, but I don't use the purple stuff because the purple stuff is like I don't know. It's just easier and more reliable, and if you have to take it apart, or for the next guy that works on it, he's not going to be scraping and cutting and buffing and doing everything he can to get the gasket off, because those were crazy days. Okay, see, the gasket surface came out nice and clean. Same with the other side. Just took basically used the scraper to just lift the gasket up and peel it off of there, and then used a rag with some brake clean to wipe the copper spray off. You want to install this tube for your EGR or for your PVC valve, PCV valve, and it hooks up to there, comes across here. You want to put that in like now at this point, because it's I actually put it together before and got it in there, but it's kind of stressful. This will give you some bending, but not a lot, so it's just better to get it in there before you put the rest of it together. And I got to put the injector rail on now. That's this little unit. It's time to mount that in place. Okay, isn't that some kind of looks like an aerospace. It's ridiculous. This thing runs really good. It started up and ran really great. The only problem was we had a leak, a water leak. It was cracked right there. Alright, this little unit goes right there, and it hooks up to the back of the manifold there. And I'm not sure, I was thinking it's a cam position sensor that's pressure activated, as well as maybe reading the cam or manifold absolute pressure or something. I don't know what it is, but you want to put this on before you put the upper plenum on. You will not get that unit on. You will not get that unit on after the upper plenum is on. And I might have a hard time getting that started as it is. There's not a lot of flexibility, and it's going to be tough to get that started without stripping it. Maybe. Yeah, looks like no. Well, I'm going to have to work with this for a little bit. I'll be back. Alright, the next thing on these 2.8s, thought I'd point this out first. We got these vacuum tubing lines that got to go here, and I had to makeshift these so they'd work because they were corroded, broken, busted, cracked, old. So I fixed them. I think I mentioned that in the last video of the engine job, which I haven't really posted yet. But and this stuff here goes to the EGR and basically the EGR system there. Anyway, you want to hook this stuff up before you put the upper plenum on as well, because it's going to be tough as a. There you go, some elongation on here. Scariest damn things to put together. Okay, fuel lines are hooked up. See the light? Let's see, I'll put the light right there. They hook up to the back to the fuel rail. Come around like that. Go over there and end up on that bracket. Oh, there is just one more thing you got to remember. Damn it. And I was getting ready to put the plenum on and realized I forgot the throttle linkage. That goes underneath the top plenum bolt right there. So I'm going to get that on and button that stupid top plenum on. Okay, it's time to put this bad dog, which is the coil. It goes right there. You can see that real good. Bolts up right there. And then of course after that will be the EGR tube, which goes right there to right there. Right there. All the way up to, let's see if I can get all the way to up there. Right there to right down there. So it's the coil, then this, then after that comes this bracket here. Nice little bracket. Bracket bolts up on the exhaust into the back of the alternator. Okay, it's kind of like a alternator support bracket. Whee! I never seen so much crap on an engine. This is Chevrolet's finest. It's like they're trying to compete with Dodge and Chrysler there on their bourgeois way of doing things. I don't know if you guys ever worked on a Chrysler, but man, they're a bear. And this thing ain't much different. Alright, there it is, the alphanumeric here. Once again, it's complete. It was a real bear because we had all this stuff here on this side to replace. Lighting's bad, but it's not the easiest manifold to replace. So you see it, it's running pretty decent. Got to set the timing and make a few adjustments, but other than that, this beast is running. Pretty sweet. Brand new. Looks like a Hoover vacuum.